Hello again. For those already subscribed to the channel, it's been a while since I've uploaded, but for those of you who are new here, welcome. I hope you enjoyed your visit, or hopefully you'll stay if you like this video. I'll make more of them if I get enough positive feedback on this one. Despite having never made a video covering it before, I'm actually a very frequent player of Dead by Daylight. With just shy of 2,000 hours in the game, I've had my fair share of experience playing both Survivor and Killer. And to preface this video, I actually have more hours in Survivor than I do Killer, so don't even start with that tribalism bullshit. Much like most of you watching this, in early May 2025 I eagerly awaited the release of what was my most anticipated licensed chapter ever, besides maybe Pennywise, and counted the seconds until Springtrap was revealed in all his glory. What would he play like? How would this iconic and incredibly unique character be faithfully translated into the world of Dead by Daylight? With such a clear and easy home run, it stands to ask, how did Behavior fumble the ball so ridiculously hard? Well, I think I have a solid theory as to why. This video is broken down into 3 sections. Why, how, and what, being what's the solution to fixing this botched character. So, picture yourself as Dead by Daylight's upper management. You're sitting in your fancy meeting room, you're in the early stages of developing what you know is likely going to be the biggest collaboration you're ever going to do. Your player base will double overnight with new players flocking to your game specifically to play this new character. What's the plan? Well, it makes sense from a service level observation that with thousands and thousands of new players funneling into your player base, your notoriously fickle and petulant players will quickly grow tired and flip the fuck out if this new killer is even remotely difficult to learn counterplay for and to play against, given that they're gonna have to play against it in nearly every match from months after its release. So, you need to design the killer's power to be easily understood, easy to counter, and engaging for the opposition. Alone, those 3 pointers don't sound inherently bad. The natural conclusion someone would come to when asking themselves how to avoid player frustration on the receiving end of a new killer. The problem with them is that they're too restricting in what a killer's power could potentially be. My theory is that Behavior was terrified at the prospect of releasing Springtrap as a layered and complex killer, fearing it would scare off the new players picking him up, and scare off the new players trying out Survivor due to the ridiculously long killer queues, and royally piss off the existing player base by making what is likely to be the only face they're going to see for months be anything but a cakewalk to understand and play against. Given what was just said, what type of power for Springtrap would tick all 3 of those previously mentioned boxes? A throwing projectile, easy to understand, just dodge it. Travelling through doors, easy to counter, the doors warn you way in advance. Watching Springtrap through the cameras, a new and engaging Survivor mechanic. When it's laid out like this, it becomes apparent that Springtrap's power was designed primarily with those 3 key points in mind. His power couldn't have any substantial depth that would require new players, who already have no clue what they're doing playing against a trapper, to deal with Vecna levels of depth in terms of counterplay and game sense. He also had to be easy to counter, which, while is a fair compromise in moderation, Behavior severely overtuned, going nuclear with a projectile throwing axe that has an extremely small hitbox, wildly lengthy cooldowns, which also slows him to carry, slows him even further to aim, and better yet slows him even more to throw and retrieve. For a new Survivor player, this would give them ample time to gain distance when Springtrap misses an axe throw. It would also make dodging the axe much more likely, whether that be because they actually dodged the axe or because they're fresh until Springtrap missed. Something which would give new players trouble, that being Springtrap's door traversal, is fixed by the doors telegraphing Springtrap's arrival by a whole 3 seconds. Which, while that doesn't sound like much, if you're watching a door and working on a generator, you can easily gain so much distance that it's not even worth it for the Springtrap to chase you, and that's without Sprint Burst, which will flat out get you to another continent by the time Springtrap hauls his rusty ass out the door. This alone makes playing Springtrap against even decently experienced players an absolute nightmare. With a power that actively works against you in every way, hindering you, giving away your arrival, and better yet, there's even more that works against you. The doors, your 1 ounce of power besides a lousy projectile, actively buff the survivors. Yeah, unlike every other killer that can teleport, yours also allows the survivors to teleport too. That's right, your power is actually our power. Gotta give them their equal attention cake, right? This would already be awful enough considering the doors are guaranteed to spawn right next to generators, making downtime between a gen popping and a survivor jumping onto the next one all of 5 seconds, but it somehow gets even worse. The doors, for the survivor's convenience of course, come equipped with security cameras. No, not for you, you can't use them. Only they can. Okay, that kinda sucks, but surely if I'm smart about my pathing I can stay out the camera's line of sight, right? Nope, they swivel. And I'm not talking about FNAF style 30 degrees left, 30 degrees right. I'm talking full 360 degrees rotation. Nowhere to hide. Okay, that's a kick in the nuts, but I can outplay this by using the environment around me, right? to conceal myself, stay behind trees, walls, tiles, right? Wrong again. These cameras give survivors wall hacks. Not only do they reveal your aura to the whole survivor team when looking at you for a while, it also does this through walls. Forget everything you learned playing Ghostface and Unknown. Line of sight means nothing to Springtrap's cameras. Okay, so to count our eggs here, we have a power that slows you to a crawl to use with unnecessarily punishing cooldowns, actively buffs the opposition, allowing them to teleport map-wide, which also telegraphs your arrival ridiculously early when you teleport, which also gives survivors on-demand wall hacks for your location. Okay, that's actually awful. Surely for you, the killer, there's some counterplay to this, right? Kinda, not really. When it comes to your throwing axe, the only counterplay players have really managed to find is to just throw the axe and retrieve it only in the moment you need it, otherwise you're simply slowed for having it. But don't worry, for survivors using your doors, Behavior thought of an amazing solution. If both you and the survivor are travelling at the same time, you will meet in the middle, automatically picking them up for you to hook. Wow, that sounds so cool, I hear you saying. And while yeah, it does look cool, it's actually utterly useless because players with even decent game sense never teleport through your doors, not unless you're currently occupied. But surely they'll only ever know if they happen to be nearby you, right? Wrong again. The survivor HUD tells them when someone's being chased, which means whenever they see these little claws around someone's icon, they're free to crank gens and then teleport to the next one, willy-nilly with no fear of being caught. Even with the most basic game sense, the risk of using Springtrap's doors is completely and utterly vaporized. It's just a straight buff to your opposition with very little benefit to you. In terms of survivors running the moment the door begins to telegraph your arrival, the best you can do is run the perk Mindbreaker, which might I add is a paid DLC perk. That's it. Pay and sink 2 million blood points into the Demagogue and have even a little counterplay against this. As for revealing your aura, all you can do is hope that you happen to be within 4 steps of the door you're being watched from, within clear line of sight with no walls in your way, and hope that your throwing axe isn't on a lengthy ass cooldown, so you can throw your axe at the door, which will temporarily kill that camera, otherwise you're screwed, nothing you can do. It's all well and good pointing a pile of crap and saying, this is crap and here's why. But what's my grand solution to this? How would I fix it? Well, there are 2 ways this could be done. The first I will call the behavior special, in that it's simple number tweaks and reworking some features. The other is a complete rework. So, the behavior special would be just number tweaks on the killer, such as walk speed changes. Carrying the fire axe no longer reduces walking speed. Increased walking speed was 4.4 meters a second, increased to 4.6 meters a second, which is the standard killer speed. Performing an axe throw was 2.76 meters a second, increased to 4.4 meters a second. Winding up an axe throw, 3.68 meters a second, increased to 4.4 meters a second. These changes make using the fire axe feel less like dancing on thumbtacks and more like a useful and skillful projectile with fair punishment for missing your shot. You're no longer punished just for having it on you and using it, only for misusing it. Security door changes. Security doors no longer telegraph Springtrap's arrival. No other killer has this. Security cameras are now capped at an auto-panning 90 degrees of rotation. It's faithful to the source material, and it's fair. Security cameras no longer reveal Springtrap's aura without direct line of sight, like Ghostface and Unknown. Springtrap's aura is only revealed to the survivor who used the camera. Springtrap's aura is now revealed only for 5 seconds instead of 10. These changes make the security doors more useful to Springtrap and less of a flat-out buff to the opposition. You can now catch survivors by surprise who aren't staring at the door ready to flee the instant it opens. And while they can still reveal your aura by using the cameras, this now happens if you're not being mindful to stay out of the camera's sight, allowing for skillful use of the environment to conceal your location while travelling, much like Springtrap in the source material. Fire axe changes. Throwing and lowering the fire axe no longer disproportionately lock you out of basic actions. Why can't I vault a window for a decade after I've thrown or lowered my axe? The fire axe AoE radius is reduced by half for survivors, but remains as is for Springtrap. The changes to the fire axe are simple, just making it feel less awful to use and again, less of a buff to the survivors, as they now have to get much closer to the axe to receive the benefits your add-ons are supposed to be giving you. Quality of life changes. While undetectable, Springtrap's sound effects are reduced by 50%. This is the loud metallic clanking. The fire axe hitbox radius is mildly increased. It's got a difficult trajectory and a lengthy cooldown. It makes sense. These are simple changes which would make Springtraps undetectable, actually, useful. It's completely redundant to have undetectable if you can still be detected with absolute ease. The fire axe hitbox being made larger is purely due to the lengthy cooldown it has. although this specific addition could be removed and it would be fine. As for complete reworks, there's many fan-made power ideas which are 10 times as clever and creative as what we ended up getting, mainly those involving possession or use of the main animatronics, Freddy, Bonnie, Chica and Foxy, or their phantom variants. What about you? What do you think of all this? Do you like Springtrap as he is? Or like me, do you think he's severely underpowered with a power that works against him for no reason at all? Let me know your thoughts. Okay, that's all from me. See ya. You want my opinion? Just play Blight.